Okay, we're going to start with you, David. Does everyone want to go down the line and do a little who you are and where you work?
So my name's David Horn. I run a financial consultancy business called Add Then Multiply, which is also the name of my book, which I will shamelessly exploit. And I work with entrepreneurial founders who are looking to scale up through raising capital and buying other companies.
I'm Lauren. I'm the founder of Oatsu. We make it easy to enjoy a healthy breakfast on the go with our freshly prepared overnight oats and our Just Add Milk overnight oat mixes. And we're excitingly launching into Ocado in a few weeks.
My name is Sheldon. I'm from DNA Hormonal Health, and we do the world's first natural andropause product and testosterone products for women called Menopause.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anya Kilkenny. I'm the founder of Riley. We supply 100% organic cotton period products that are better for our bodies and better for our planet.
Amazing. And we'll start with you, Anya. So you guys are on a mission, like you said, to give women a more positive period. How did you really initially validate that there was a strong market demand for Riley's products?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of things in this. So we started our business over 4 years ago. And the reason why we started our business was because of our own personal frustration. We couldn't find period products on the market that were 100% organic cotton, that didn't have any chlorine bleach, and that were better for the environment. So off the bat, we were our own target market. When we started to look at the data, 50% of the world menstruates. So again, we knew pretty quickly that we had a really big market. And then when we were validating our idea, I'm not sure, has anyone here read the book, The Lean Startup? Couple of people. Yeah, it's excellent. And it talks about a fake door strategy, which basically means that it's a way of validating your idea. And how we did that was we set up a landing page with nothing behind it, but it was just to capture data. And we set up our social media and we directed people to that landing page. So without doing a lot of work and spending a lot of money, we knew that we were capturing data and we knew that we were getting interest in our product as well. So it was a good way to start and to see that we knew the market was there and we knew people wanted our product.
It's mad, it's only really recently, though, that all of the stats have become publicly known about what's actually in the supermarket shelf products, like what you guys are selling.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about our products in comparison to mainstream period products. And when I talk about mainstream, I mean products that you'd buy off the shelf in the local Tesco or Boots. The average pad is made of 90% plastic, and there can be up to 26 hormone-disrupting chemicals in mainstream period products. It's just something that we don't know about, that we've never been told. So that's why we start our business on a subscription service. And we also provide into B2B corporates like Salesforce, Google, Amazon, to be able to get our product into as many people's hands as possible.
Amazing. And Sheldon, you guys are the only natural testosterone supplement range, and you're in some massive retailers, Boots, global wellness giant, Essity?
Essity, yeah. I was going to just go, yes. Yeah, it wasn't, it's been a long, hard journey getting there. All thanks to our CEO, Bertie, over there. A couple of years ago, when we started, if you said the word andropause to someone, you got that blank look on your face, like what are you talking about? Are you special? At least now when you say andropause, people know, oh, male menopause or equivalent. We had to go through compliance with Boots, which is ridiculously strict. And even though we were compliant 100%, it still took us a year to get through compliance with Boots, but we got there. And now, like you say, we're the only natural testosterone brand to be sold by Boots, and now with Essity as well.
And how did you guys find that there was product market fit?
A couple of things. The thing is market fit for or product market fit for a lot of people are different things. But we always look at it that it's when you don't have to try and tell people about your business, but when people come to you and you can't keep up with demand. For us, it was when because also we're the only non-DC backed startup in Boots with regards to natural supplements, and it's only a 2-man team. It's only myself and Bertie, and it's been like that from the beginning. But we knew we had market fit, number one, when our product Silverback, which is our natural anabolic product and natural alternative TRT or testosterone replacement therapy, sold out in Boots after 3 weeks of launch with no advertising, no marketing spend, because obviously we're still raising at the moment, so we didn't have the funds, but we got in there and we sold out within 3 weeks. We've sold out twice. Slowback sold out twice in Boots since then, since we launched in July of last year. So that's how we knew. That's how we knew we.
It's like something's going on. I think.
Yeah, something is. And also, I'm the biggest ambassador for Silverback because we developed the product for me because I was diagnosed with low testosterone, but I didn't want to take synthetic hormones. And when we looked at the market, there wasn't a natural alternative. And so, Bertie being a clinical nutritionist and using a PT, we developed our own supplement, which was Silverback, and then we developed the range from that. But yeah, it was that, and also the fact that we, from the word go, we've had customers come back again. Our return rate of clients is like 85%. Yeah, it's been good. Also, market fit is we haven't been advertising for 18 months, but in last quarter we grew revenue by 384%. Our D2C organic growth is 60% over last quarter. Our order value is up by 25%. So the market is now getting ready to hear about testosterone health or natural testosterone health, and that's how we knew we had market fit, was all those factors.
Those increases in the percentages. And Lauren, you guys started as a kitchen table brand, and now you're in huge retailers, Holland & Barrett, Ocado, and you've successfully raised investment, haven't you, through angels and crowdfunding? Like, what was that process like, and what kind of strategies did you implement?
Yeah, so we did start it literally in my kitchen, and the idea for Oatsu came about when I used to work in the city here and just couldn't find any healthy, convenient breakfasts like the overnight oats that I was prepping myself while I was out and about, and could see the rise of overnight oats in the US as a prepackaged product, and found out that overnight oats were the fourth most Googled recipe globally, so people were interested in them but just couldn't find them. So started initially selling them online and at markets, and throughout that time was looking for a manufacturer, and I knew that was going to be the key to us being able to launch into supermarkets. Our goal was always to get into grocery retail, but just knew we needed to find the right manufacturing partner, particularly as a short shelf life and chilled product. So that was like the first challenge that I had to kind of apply myself to. And we worked with one manufacturer who couldn't get the shelf life that we needed. But after doing a year-long search we've now found a great partner, and we've got a 45-day shelf life, which I'm so excited about. So I feel like now we're really starting in order for us to kind of set up with a new manufacturer and to be able to launch into retail and be able to grow the team and have marketing budget. I knew that we needed to raise a round of investment, and we raised like a first pre-seed round just over a year ago, and we raised for angel investors, a great diverse group of investors, and then also a crowdfund on Seeders. We raised $250,000 from 270 individuals in total. And I think that the biggest thing that helped us was dedicating time to film high quality video content, celebrating the different milestones that we were going to hit throughout the campaign, and telling our story and the challenges that we'd overcome, and then sharing that not only on the Seeders platform, but also on LinkedIn was really key for us. And other founders in my network who engaged with the posts, investors in their businesses, if they were consumer or food and beverage focused, found our campaign through that. So I think that was LinkedIn and video, and like high quality video content was probably the most important thing that we did, and making sure that we had content to share throughout the campaign, particularly in the quieter middle period, which I think you need to continue to be really active throughout, but then be ready for that final week during the campaign where naturally everyone who's been thinking about it takes action.
And David, you recently completed your 30th M&A transaction.
I did.
Well done.
Thank you.
It's a panel full of wins, this. I love it. And from like an investor's perspective, what are they looking for in terms of like startups or businesses when they are assessing like product market fit?
Well, the key thing is to demonstrate that there's evidence that people want to buy whatever it is you're selling. And so, if you're starting out from scratch, I think doing things like building a wait list is a fantastic way, because you can demonstrate that you've got people, you've got data around them, you've got their email addresses, you can find out how much they're willing to pay. If you run focus groups, then you can get evidence of those, you can film them. But ultimately, the most important thing is to actually have people who are paying you money. Even if you're launching a tech product and you launch a site and you say your first 100 beta users can come on for £1, you've got 100 people paying you £1. That's a lot more than nobody paying you anything. So just some evidence that there's money actually transacting hands, and then you can build it from there.
And what about when they're pitching to investors? Is it kind of like the same thing in how they're demonstrating that the product is going to work?
Yeah. And again, it really depends on the nature of the investor and what stage your business is at. So there are some investors that are happy to invest in very, very early businesses, pre-revenue businesses. Other investors, they're not interested in that. They're looking at scale up. So if you're out looking for investment, take the time to research who the investors are and what their criteria are, because otherwise you're just going to do a spray and pray approach and, send your pitch deck to 1,000 people and 995 of them are going to be pissed off.
And then you're potentially ruining future relationships. And what were some of like the biggest hurdles that you guys faced when getting the product from like early traction into like that sustainable growth phase?
So where do I start with hurdles in a startup? And so we grew really quickly. So in our first year, we made just under 100 grand in revenue. And in our second year, we made just under $1 million in revenue. So it was quite a jump within that 12 months. And it was definitely all hands on deck. We launched the business out of my garage down in West Cork. So similar, kitchen table, although we were out in the shed. But we launched our business, really it was just ourselves and we were packing. But to see that growth was amazing. When we launched, we did a really strong influencer campaign and we did a lot of media as well that were really, really supportive of us. So I think that really propelled us for that year. But with that, in terms of hurdles, it was cash flow. Like any D2C business, when you're starting off, you just don't have the cash. And it's amazing to be getting all these orders. We were similar as well. We ran out of packaging. We ran out of stock in our first couple of months. And that's difficult to deal with while you're also trying to pack all the orders that are coming in, and it's phenomenal. But then on the other side, you're looking at a huge cash problem and a cash flow problem as well. So that was definitely our biggest hurdle in the first 12 months, I'd say.
And Lauren, like once you guys started gaining traction, like how did you really decide on what the right growth strategy was? Like where should you be putting your focus in, D2C or retail or a bit of everything?
Well, initially I started direct to consumer because that was what was available to us before we had a manufacturer. But I knew it would be a great channel to start to see who was buying our products. And initially I was hand delivering my orders all across London myself, literally going to Kent to South to West, all in the same day, before we partnered with a courier, which made things much more efficient. But we still have those great relationships with our customers, and we're able to survey them and ask their opinion on new flavors, or they actually suggested the new high protein Just Add Milk overnight oat mix, which is like a store cupboard version of the ready to eat chilled overnight oats that we already have. So great ideas have kind of come from asking them what they want to see next and then developing those. Though, as I said, the goal was always kind of grocery and then also food service. So offices, coffee shops, travel. And so we have like a dual approach now. Yeah.
And you got to find that balance, I suppose, throughout.
I think like working with specialists in each area has just been key to understand how we should prioritize.
And Sheldon, once you've found like the product market fit, like what's next? Like how are you planning on like scaling without losing what's made the product special?
Yeah, we're at the moment we're still, as I said, we're raising at the moment to the big surge for marketing, etc. But we've got a lot of things in the pipeline. For example, we're developing a range for the military, because military, especially spec ops like Marines, SS, etc., can't take TRT even if they have low testosterone. So we're looking at working with Informed Sports to do an anti-doping certified supplement for them, and also then branch it out to athletes, so a sports range where athletes can take these supplements, but know that they're not going to be it's not going to flag like any sort of doping. So we've got that, and then obviously looking at expanding to the States as well, because America's understands testosterone a lot better than the UK does. And everyone keeps saying to us, well, why don't you just go to America? And we've even been approached by like the California state saying, you're a California brand, why don't you come over here? Because we want to get it right here first. And once we get it right here, then we'll look at the States and obviously Australia, because obviously Australia is a big market as well. But it's getting it right here first. We want to walk before we can run and fly, etc. But yeah, we're looking at all sorts of. We're also doing. Going to be looking at launching tester tubes, which I've got some samples. So if anyone wants a sample of it, just come see me. We're doing tester tubes, which is going to just be a single shot. Because it's a daily supplement, but it means you can just, instead of taking a pouch, you can just throw it in a gym bag, or you can throw it in your bag for the office. So yeah, we always looking at new and exciting ways of helping people support the natural testosterone production.
And David, what common mistakes do founders typically make when they're seeking investment, and how can it be avoided?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Sorry, what common mistakes are founders making when they're seeking investment, and how can it be avoided?
I think the biggest mistake that founders make is not doing their homework beforehand to find out who the potential investor is. And you need to look at this as a very long-term relationship. An investor is going to come in, they're going to own a stake in your business, they're going to sit on your board, they're going to have an input into the strategy. They might not agree with you at all times, and you've got to make sure that there's a relationship that you build. So it's really important to take your time researching these people, finding out about them, talk to other people that they've invested in. And one of my tips that a lot of people say is how do I meet a venture capitalist? Well, find a venture capitalist who is invested in someone else's company and go and talk to them and ask them what's it been like, what's the relationship like, and then after you've struck up a relationship with them, you could say, well, could you please introduce me? And that's a great way to get in.
And Anya, how did you guys transition from attracting those early adopters to reaching a larger, more mainstream audience?
Yeah, can I actually add to your point as well? So we raised funding. We raised twice, actually, the first time 500 and the second time 1.5, so 2 million in total. And what we used to do with our investors when we pitched to them was, if they said no to us, we'd ask them why. And then we just made us understand, what we were doing and who suited us. And then we would say, okay, who's in your network that you can introduce us to? And then that is actually how we met a lot of our angel investors as well. So I just wanted to add to your point, because it was really
very smart.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
Well, I'm actually going to change it. So, because I was going to ask one, but I'm going to ask a different one. So, what about when it comes to brand storytelling and things, how important is that when it comes to raising investment? And was that a big piece of what you guys did to help the raise?
Absolutely. I think a brand story is so important, and having values is really important. Having your mission really clear, really important. For us, having a brand story and explaining our problem well was particularly important, because most investors are male, unfortunately, and this was menstruation is a female problem mostly. There are a lot of people out there with periods, but unfortunately not a lot of investors. So we really had to be able to explain our story and make them understand what we were going through. And it was something that the majority of the investors that we pitched to had never been through that before. So we really had to explain our problem really well, and to explain to them, if I get my period in the office and there's no period products, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, oh yeah, makes sense. I don't know. It's just stuff that they never thought of before. And that's perfectly fine that they never have. But that's why the brand story is really important. And also, I think explaining and being a really strong founding team is really important, because yes, founders may not understand the story, or they haven't gone through your problem, but they also need to believe in you and believe in what you're building as well, and believe in the founding team. So I think, the story, so important.
And Lauren, PR's played a big role in your growth as well. And you've had endorsements from some big media outlets, The Sun, Metro, The Guardian. How's that impacted your credibility and sales?
I think it's always helpful to have a third party endorsement, whether that is a newspaper, or we were lucky enough to get a shout out from Stephen Bartlett as part of, we were invited to be part of a campaign with Meta focusing on small businesses, and he was part of the same campaign, and then unexpectedly he kind of filmed a shout out and tagged us, which we didn't expect, but we tried to make the most of that opportunity, create content out of it, kind of reshare it. And then when that campaign, Meta was kind of funding a campaign themselves, getting visibility for our brand, that did lead to an uplift in sales and a spike in sales, which is great. But I think you have to remember that any spike in sales that you get from a PR article or a campaign is probably going to be quite temporary and short-lived. And so you need to make sure that you're retargeting people who've seen it, or making sure that the customers that buy from you, they're on your email list and you can kind of continue speaking with them. But another thing we made sure we did is those great features, naturally you'll include it in, if you get a brand new article that is important for the industry. For example, we're featured in The Grocer, and so we mention that to buyers because we know that they read that publication. Or we'll put the icons on our website, for example. So just try and get the most out of you can from that opportunity.
And Sheldon, last question, like what role has community played in like your scaling of the brand, and how are you making sure that you're like cultivating a really engaged audience?
This was just one I was hoping we weren't going to get. Because it's been me and Bertie from the start, it's only two of us, it's one of the areas we really need to focus on. We had to lock down market fit, we had to get revenue in, we had to get retailers on board, etc. But we are fortunate enough that our products work so well that it basically carried or took up the slack. Now we have started engaging our clients more. I've taken over our actual email marketing and our Klaviyo, etc. And we are engaging with our clients, asking them what they want. So getting that two-way street happening with all our clients. Also, what we've done since the beginning is we've always taken the view that we treat every customer as if they're the only one we have. So I'm apart from like the Klaviyo guy and the graphic designer guy and the web design guy, I also am customer service at the moment, but I make sure that I go back to every single client personally and make sure that I resolve the issue for them. There was a saying once that said the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is a little bit extra, and we live by that. So, and that's why I think why we have clients that we've had from the very beginning, because we make sure that we treat them as if they're the only one we have.
Be sticky then, hopefully. Well, thank you so much. That was amazing.
Thank you.